We're the talent, my man.
Well, yeah, it's a low-budget production we got here.
This is not low budget. This is super. Don't discredit this.
I didn't say.
This is high. This is as high as it gets.
I didn't say it was bad.
For us, this is as high as it gets. 1 and 4 time with Myriad. This is the most, I shouldn't say the most special episode I've ever done, but this is to the top because we have Coach Richie with us today. And I just found out this is your first time on a 4-time episode. Is that true?
We haven't done this yet. Yeah.
We've done the other stuff before. How do you feel about being on camera?
I mean, it's not my favorite thing.
Not your favorite thing. It's not my favorite thing either, but you just got to force that energy through. Gym right now, CrossFit specifically, I can't believe I'm even saying this, but we are a week and a half in on our level method assessments.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yes, good. People are doing very well.
I was going to say, what is your overall, just give me an overall, we'll go through the topics here in a second, but overall feeling of how things are going thus far, a week and a half in with level method?
I think every day is getting easier.
Agreed.
I think there's been some confusion, a little bit here and there. People trying to people are wrapping their heads around the idea of like a more specific progression on their skills and on their.
And it's a large system. We're asking a lot out of people.
Yeah, exactly. And
there's technology. There's a giant map. There's big giant TV with a bunch of workouts on it. There's different things happening all at once. There's 32 different variations of different testing. So it's heavy, right?
Yeah, and I think it's still getting easier every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, for us being able to relay the information, for the members being able to understand it, everybody figuring out all their stuff and chalk it, and understanding how to take a test.
Yes.
Right, how to do the assessments and like hit something a little bit conservative and then maybe go up from there, right? Because we're just establishing a baseline, and I think people are getting that all straightened out.
Yeah, so let's actually dive into that piece first. So you said it exactly, very eloquently there. Like, all we're doing right now is establishing a baseline.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
So each assessment doesn't have to be a full-on,
max out.
Just go as hard as you possibly can. That's not, you max out on a day when you feel good, the thing that you're doing feels good, and you're like mentally prepared for it. This is like, we're trying to figure out what are you capable of on a random Tuesday.
Yeah.
And in the 15 different areas. And then we're just going to work on that for the next 3 or 4 months.
Yeah.
Right? That's all we're doing. We'll reassess in a few months, and then should have moved up if you've been coming and getting your workouts in. But we're establishing a starting point. It's not where you finish.
Yeah, and I'm gonna
You're
just say,
live there forever.
I'm guilty of this as well, where it's like I see a test, I'm like, I need to ace this test, right? Putting it in like school terms and such. It's like I need to do the best I possibly can, but at the end of the day, just get on the map. That's what establishing base right now is, just get on the map, because to your point, every 3 months or so, we're going to be redoing these tests. They're going to be periodically throughout our own programming. Then we're going to have global assessments once or twice a year, or 2 or 3 times a year.
I think it's 3 times.
3 times a year. So we will be redoing these as well. So one of the things that we wanted to talk about today specifically was, in the same vein of establishing a baseline, is how important resting is. And how important, we had a few people come Thursday-ish, Friday, at the end of last week, week 1 of our assessments, saying they were super beat up. We had a few people grab a couple injuries, which is very unfortunate. And a couple people that just were burnt out. And to your point, this isn't meant to be go super, 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 super hard. We have 3 weeks of assessments built in. And with makeup days built in on Saturdays, there's going to be more makeup days in the future. There's opportunities if there's a specific test that you haven't done, that the class is doing one that you already have done, that you could potentially talk to the coach and sub in the assessment you haven't done. So there's a lot of opportunities for people to treat this like their normal programming, where if they typically come 2 or 3 times a week, they can still come 2 to 3 times a week over the 3-week period and get all their assessments done.
Yeah.
So I will actually take ownership of that we didn't do a good enough job explaining that on the front end, that hey, 3 weeks of assessments, there's going to be a lot of repeat days on purpose, because a lot of people aren't going to be able to make it in on the same exact day.
Yeah.
So from here on out, treat your body with some respect, right?
Yeah.
Like treat your body to your point where it's like if you're not 100% on that day, or you're not feeling great on that day, or something's not happening, well, that's not going to be a full max out go for it type of day. That's a get on the mat type of day, and then in the future we can go through.
Yeah. So, an example is I do more specific programming for a handful of people, and one of them said, "Hey, what should I do about this run tomorrow?" He's been working through some knee stuff, and I was like, "Dude, if you can come in and just run the 400, run a fast 400, great, and then talk to your coach. That's going to be at the end of class tomorrow, is when the running test is tomorrow. So if you can run the 400, and then you didn't get to do rings last week, if you can go play on the rings in that last 8 or 10 minutes, that'll be really useful work for you.
Totally.
And you'll be able to go, oh yeah, I can go do four dips, but I can't quite get the 5th one.
Yeah.
Or whatever that is, you can talk to one of us and figure out how to make that time productive.
For sure.
On a day when, he can run one of the faster miles, but his leg hurts right now. He's not doing it.
I mean, I'm a great example right now where my knee's bummed, and I'm taking the noon class today, and I know there's a squat endurance test, and I was going to probably do the air squat Tabatas. Well, I'm not going to do that. I'm probably going to switch it over, and just for a workout purpose, do the air squat, the Tabata push-up, because I didn't test fully on that one. I know that's going to be an awesome workout. So
totally.
To your point, if you are injured, you can still come in, do the alternative workout, go through another test, figure out where your time will be most productive, to your point. But with that, kind of circling back, but still rest when needed.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
Still rest when needed, especially during this time, and then come back when you're feeling really good. Not come back, but get ready to attack an assessment when you're feeling good.
And that's something else I would say. CrossFit training generally is supposed to be at high intensity. It's not maximal intensity.
Yeah.
The game should be, most of the time you train 80 to 90% effort.
For sure.
Maybe one day a week you go full send. One day a week you go pretty casual.
Yeah.
The other 4 days of training, they're hard, but they're not undoable.
Totally.
Right?
Totally.
And that's how most of the testing should be too.
Yeah.
It should be what can I do? Not what can I do when I'm on 10 hours of sleep and a full stomach and the stars have aligned.
Yeah.
We don't need that.
No.
That's not as helpful.
One other topic I want to dive into a little bit, I've talked about this in a couple different classes, I know you have as well.
Mm-hmm.
What is really important with the level method as a whole, in order for the system to work, is making sure we are hitting our standards.
Yes.
And standards are movement standards. So a front squat, a squat below parallel is below parallel. A thruster, I'm not going to lie, yesterday's lactic tolerance test, I walked through a couple classes and saw a few people above parallel or right at parallel. In order for this test to, on those thrusters, for this test to work, we need to get below parallel in every single rep. So I encourage you to grab a teammate and tell that teammate, whoever's judging you or scoring you for that workout, tell them hey, we don't have mirrors in here. We don't have our cameras out right in the middle of a high intensity workout. Tell me when I need to get lower. Tell me when I'm good. Tell me when I'm below parallel. Work together with the teammate.
Yeah. Having higher movement quality is going to help all of us.
Absolutely, 100%.
Right? It's going to keep you in the gym. It's going to keep you more efficient. You're going to be able to go faster on workouts, and you're going to be hurt less often if you're moving better. Right.
Range of motion. Right.
Right. Full range of motion. Whatever. It's you wouldn't short 4 inches off the bottom of your push-up and call it a push-up.
Yeah. Why are we doing that on squats?
Yeah, it's the same. It's
Yeah.
exactly the same. Right. If you're taking the test and the wall ball says you got to get 10 feet, the 14-pound ball. I think that's the lesser one for the API test. Man, you got to hit that. And if you don't quite hit your 10-foot mark, then your buddy needs to tell you one time. The second time it happens, hey man, that one didn't count. Take a rest, take a shake, take enough rest till you can meet that standard so that you know that your test is valid and going to be a
representation,
an accurate representation of what you can actually do.
Yeah. And I think that leads into one of the last topics we have here that we want to talk about, which is this entire map is a system of progressions. And the progressions are super important to where calling out the below parallel squat. Some of us might have knee injury. Some of us might have hip injury. Some of us might not be able to get below parallel right now. That is okay. But the goal is in those squat sections to work towards a box and then find that range of motion that you can get to that box for the amount of reps you need to. Then eventually it's do 1 rep below parallel. Feel what that feels like. And then eventually it's 5 reps and then 10 reps. And the whole thing and all the different categories are progressions to help each of us individually be successful at our own individual athletic journey right now. And I think that's what makes me love this system so much more.
Yeah, even for me, all of my other stuff, was at a certain level, and then my running was a few levels back. My running was bad. I had been sick for a month,
Yeah.
right? My lungs were not fully in line, but my rowing was still a lot better than my running. And I was like, well, and I've been running the last month. And you know what? My running's getting better.
See?
And I have target times for like, I was a little bit shy on that one, but my running's getting better because I have a thing that I am working on to be better at in my running and know that I'm better. It's not just, it feels better in workouts, but I'm demonstrably faster.
Yeah. I know we're at time, but there's one other piece that, with you saying that, actually led me. A lot of us are going to be, probably towards the end of this week, maybe early next week, we'll be getting all 15 done. Mm-hmm. And so you'll be putting the last test in, and then you'll be able to see what your color is.
Overall level.
Your overall level. We've had a lot of questions on that overall level, and something that it's not the most intuitive right away, but like what we were taught and the reason why your overall level what it is, it's essentially the lowest. Actually, do you know?
Yeah.
Do the math.
So you've got your 15 levels. You take the lowest 2.
Yep.
And they get a 2 stripe, a 2 level bump. Not 2 colors, 2 levels. And then whatever is lowest after that is what determines your overall level. And they do that way so that you have to work on your weaknesses to be able to improve your overall level. It's not an average, because you could drive your average up just by getting, in
better
my case,
at the things you're really good at.
Yeah, like if I'm going to work on my front squat anyway, and they're not rewarding me for having more front squat. They're rewarding me for working on my running.
Yeah. And again, this is a GPP, General Physical Preparedness Program, CrossFit is, Level Method is. So the idea is we're trying to get good at everything and not just like really, really good at one thing.
Yes.
So we want to call out like what our weaknesses / opportunities are, hence running for Richie, and work on those things. So just want to call that out. Dude, we crushed it. Thank you for your time. You're a natural at this. I love this. We're gonna have more Richie on for a time. If you have questions, let us know. info@myriadfit.com, or grab one of us before or after class, and we'll be happy to talk a level method with you. Thank you all.
Yeah, always talk to a coach. Always talk to a coach.